Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the brand new Vosteed Vombat. I got the chance to handle this one at Blade Show, and there's a lot going on here. Named after the Wombat, of course. And this is a medium-sized knife, or medium, coming in at 6.72 inches overall. It has a 2.92 inch. Now this is somewhat of like a spear point. They're calling it a Zulu blade. Nice satin finish on this particular version. You got 2 rows of jimping. This one's more, in my opinion, more of an index. It is raised a little bit. It's too wide to be super grippy, but it maybe with gloves on. We'll check that out in a second. And then you got some fine cut jimping here. In my opinion, that one's a lot better. It's still not as grippy as it could be because those peaks are kind of rounded over. Not something that really bothers me any, but I'm sure this will work great with gloves on. You do have a top swedge to thin out the tip a little bit. However, that's a pretty beefy tip there. So if you need to do a little twisting and turning, you should be perfectly fine with that. The blade steel in this one is Bowler M390, and Vosteed does a fantastic job with it. Their Rockwell hardness ranges from 60 to 62 HRC, and so far I've had nothing but good experiences with testing the Vosteed knives. It looks like it's coming down like right behind it. So it's going to depend on how much pressure you put there on how fast it's going to widen up on you. You can see right there, it's actually coming right there. So you might get a couple of sharpenings before it'll hit that plunge. Come on, Vosteed, bring the plunge all the way back here so you can have all that sharpening life. Yeah, they're pretty good at listening to everybody's gripes. So if enough of y'all talk about that, maybe it'll happen. This blade should be fairly versatile. The tip is just a little bit above the center line of the scale, so I can use the tip to do a drag cut, but it's probably going to be easier just to use that belly. Either way, it's going to be a fairly versatile blade shape because your belly's not too crazy, and then you have enough of a straight edge portion to do in-hand cuts rather easily as well. Your blade stock thickness is coming in at 0.118. You got a nice high flat grind that they managed to get down nice and thin to around 13 thousandths behind the edge. So this one should be a great slicer, and we're going to find out. Like usual, this one came with a fantastic edge out of box, and I've had good experiences so far with their M390. I think they range it from like 60 to 62, somewhere in that nature. And if I had to take a wild guess, I'd say it's probably 61 just by the way it performs. And, you know, this pinch grip's comfortable, slicing very well. They managed to get the flat grind down nice and thin. I don't know what the edge bevel's at, but, you know, so far so good. No complaints at this point. Then we move on to the 1/2 inch sisal rope, and I had that blister, so I'm trying to be as light as I possibly can. Luckily we have the belly that we do on this one because I can either do a push cut, I can do a solid motion cut, you know, however I want. I can kind of go in the belly in front of by the tip, and it's doing a good job. Like I said, I'm just hindered a little bit because of the blister that I got testing a bunch of knives in the last few days, trying to catch up after, you know, dealing with the stuff with my father in the hospital. So I'm working, guys. I'm doing my best. Hopefully I'll be able to get caught up. Feels like I'll never be able to get caught up. So I still enjoy doing this for y'all. It just means that I'm going to get more blisters than average. Yeah, I think it's got good bite to the edge. Pinch grip is comfortable. I did a lot of push cuts, and it's funny. It depends on how the sisal rope is sitting. Like if it's loosened up any, it makes it a lot harder to cut. Unless you got a wicked sharp edge. Now, you know, for out of the box edge, I think they do a great job. It's definitely not going to compare to, say, putting my own edge on it or somebody else doing it, not just me, because it's going to last longer, and I can really dial it in because I can take my time and get a screaming sharp edge on it. So yeah, if you want to see the performance jump up, sharpen it 2-3 times and you'll get max performance out of it, and you'll be amazed on how much better usually your production knives will perform once you put a few edges on it. Because usually they sharpen it on a belt, which can give you some a little bit of burnt edges, causing it not to last as long as it should. And that's common. I mean, I don't know too many companies. SRM's the only one I know that does cooled sharpening. I think we does cooled sharpening too. But yeah, so far so good. Then we move on to the rest of the testing. As you can see, it's still versatile enough to where I can use that tip to go through the leather, but it's going to be a lot easier just to use that belly unless you needed, you know, the fine point of the knife. It did great with just about everything. I did notice a little bit of drag when I was doing the tubing, and that might have been just from my blister, being worried about putting too much pressure down. But all in all, I give this one an A++, once again from Vosteed. Good job. Well, just as I expected, it performed great. Now let's take a look at the deployment in action on this one. You have dual thumb studs. They got some nice texture to them. Those are probably my favorite type of studs. And this is an adjustable crossbar lock. They gave us 3 tension settings, as you can see there. It looks like it's on the middle one at this moment. So you can make it a little stronger or a little looser depending on what you're looking for. Yep, it's on the center. But my personal opinion, it's set right where it needs to be. You get a nice positive flip, super smooth, riding on cage ceramic bearings, giving it that nice fall shut action. You can easily slow roll it. And it's not super easy to flop it out. I mean, of course, I can do pretty much any knife like that. But yeah, nice tension. But like I said, if you need it stronger or weaker, you can do that. Now we're going to get into some of the interesting things. Let's first talk about the ergos. So you got contoured, textured aluminum scales, steel blue color. If I had to take a guess, like a grayish bluish. And offers the perfect amount of texture without being uncomfortable. Doesn't even bother my old beat up hands and my neuropathy. Now, like I said, it's a medium-sized knife. My medium-sized hands, I can still get a nice 4-finger grip on it rather easily. It was comfortable. I was able to get a lot of force in the hammer grip. This is comfortable as well because you have a fairly neutral handle, and then the reverse grip is good. Plus, you have some pretty grippy texture right there, so you're not going to slide off of that if you do need to stick it into some wood to make some feather sticks or something. Now, the cool thing about this knife is, and like I said, I checked it out at Blade Show. If you look, you don't see a pivot screw there. You have 2 body screws, and then this is a clip screw. All your hardware, every single screw on here is T8. Finally, excellent job. They have a patent pending on their swappable, adjustable scale. And I thought it was interesting. Now, I know TRM does something kind of similar, but they show you the pivot. And then Kaiser does something a little bit similar too, as far as the construction goes. But we're going to check it out in detail in just a second. So as you can see here, you got a reversible, nice wire pocket clip. You can also see you have this little plate there. This one has the Vosteed logo, and it's in a little aluminum plate, another patent pending there. They just did that so you can kind of make your knife your own. You can get it laser engraved with something. You get different colors. You know, to me, not something that I really care too much about. One thing I did notice though, whenever they sent me this little plate was down here, and it doesn't slide easily or anything. And whenever I would go to put it in my pocket, it was catching on that plate. Now to remedy that, I just moved it all the way up here. No problems whatsoever. I love the wire pocket clip. It functions really nicely. Doesn't tear up my pants as fast as some of the other clips do. And as you can see, it's fairly deep. All you have is this little portion sticking out of the pocket. These aluminum scales are sitting on top of stainless steel liners that have been heavily pocketed out to try to reduce the weight as much as possible. And that's going to add a little bit of extra heft. Not too bad. Bringing the weight to 2.99 ounces. To me, that's a-okay. We have yet another patent pending thing that they did on this knife, and it's called their ball roll bar. So on a traditional crossbar lock, you just usually have just a regular spherical bar right here, like on this Benchmade bug out. A round bar, no humps in it, nothing like that. Well, what Vosteed did is lay the spherical, as you can see there, it's like just a higher spot on the crossbar, and it's supposed to improve the lock smoothness so you shouldn't get sticky lock due to reduced friction, and it's supposed to enhance the long-term reliability of the crossbar lock mechanism. So, you know, I won't know that portion till after I've used this for a while. I plan on doing some stupid stuff with it just to see how it wears over time. But I like that kind of thing. You know, I like how Vosteed's constantly trying to improve on things. I will say, I have not gotten one bit of stick yet. Let's see. Yeah, very smooth to disengage that crossbar no matter how hard I do it or how slow I do it. So that's pretty darn cool. And like I said, we'll do some stupid stuff later down the road, so this video is not an hour long. Well, I'm curious, how is the lockup with that little change to the crossbar? No movement in any direction. I mean, very solid lock up. I'll do some light. Rock solid, just as I expected. Now time for some size comparisons. The closest Vosteed in length that I found would be the Vosteed Martin, pretty much identical in length. And the Kershaw Mini Iridium's also similar in length. And the Vosteed Val Hun is just a hair longer, and the Wee Bougie Banner is just a hair shorter. Next, the Vosteed Acorn's a little longer, and the Kaiser Mini Militaw is just a hair shorter. I mean, a hair. Next up, two other good size references, the Kaiser Comet and the O-Knife Roboto 3. Both of those are almost identical in length. And lastly, it's smaller than both the Ontario Rat 1 and 2. So like I said earlier, the first patent pending is the quick swap scale system. So we're going to see how quickly I can do this. Another way to make it your own, you can buy two different scale kits. You can get an aluminum one that has different pattern on it. And with each scale kit comes a little baggie that has 3 different colored swappable thumb studs, an extra pair of Omega springs, 3 different color aluminum plates for the pocket clip if you want to do that, 2 blank. The black one has the Vosteed logo on it. And it also comes with 2 extra sets of hardware. You get a black set and you get your standard set, depending on which knife you have, I'm sure. The aluminum kits are $35, or if it's an add-on, it'd be $25. They also have Ultim kits or PEI with the same texture as my aluminum version. I'm probably going to put these on there just to see how much lighter it makes it, because it's definitely going to reduce the weight. But with the PEI, you also get the same extras as the other one. So let's see how quick I can change out these scales. So you're not, well, let's see. And then I'm sure that pocket clip screw probably has to come out too. Yep. Then you take this pocket clip screw out. I should be able to swap out this side. Yep. So as you can see there, how quick that was. Now, while I have it open, if I want to make an adjustment to the crossbar, I can do that rather quickly. So we'll swap it out here. I don't usually love the PEI. I just want to see how much lighter it'll get. So the small screw, I usually am paying attention to that stuff, but small screw goes here for the clip. Then the next small screw goes here, because you're not threading into a spacer like you are with the longer screw. And then the longer screw goes right up here in the front. That was quick and painless. Now let's see how quick I can do this side. So I'm going to take my driver and I'm going to push this plate down just a little bit. That was rather easy. I mean, it's not super easy because you don't want it going back and forth. Now, say if I just wanted to make an adjustment to my blade, you can see you can get to the actual Torx head by itself right there. If I wanted to, I could make that adjustment if I needed to tighten it up, loosen it up. We'll take off the clip first. Shouldn't be that hard because this little plate's probably holding it in the perfect width. Then all we should have to do is take this one off. Your longer screw, this one off, and we should be golden. Look at that. Now, of course, if you needed to re-lube the inside, clean out gunk or whatever, you can completely take this down. But if you're just swapping out scales or swapping the tension on your Mega Springs, you don't need to do all that. So let's go ahead and slap the other PEI or Ultim scale on. Get your longest screw, put it back into its threaded stop pin. I'm not tightening these all the way down. I do that right at the end. This driver came from Combat Beads, some of the best drivers in the biz. And lastly, we're going to put the clip back on. You can see how wide it is now. Okay, let's see. Make sure the clip's all the way in that little slot. Back it up as much as I need to. So there you go. I do wish it would bottom out whenever you screw that down so those little bars aren't sticking up any. I haven't noticed it getting stuck up on anything. And once you have your clip set up, I recommend, I'm going to do it with a little chopstick that I broke in half. I recommend sliding this up about right there so you don't come in contact with it, because if it's right there, I found that my pants were getting hung up right there. Not the case when it was up here. So I gotta say that was very painless. You know, if you've ever taken apart a crossbar lock, you know, like Benchmade, you got to take apart the entire knife to swap out the scales because of how the pivot is captured and it's one piece. This one, they got it set up to where it's screwed into the stainless steel liners. And then if you need to make an adjustment, you just do it right here. So yeah, I like it. I'm going to check the weight now that I have the PEI on. So let's check it out. Yeah, with the aluminum is 2.99. With the PEI, we'll call it 2.55. It's a noticeable difference with the PEI on. Hopefully they do some micarta variants, especially that blue micarta that they do. I love that. If I would have been paying attention, I would have put the black hardware. Sorry, I ended up doing it after the fact and just wanted to add this in there. So I put the black thumb stud and then I swapped out with the black hardware. I think it looks a lot better that way. And I'm sure that's why they gave us two different sets of hardware. So what do y'all think about this one? It's not like this in the video because I was trying to save on time. For now, I'm going to leave it on there. And just to give you a quick look, if you got the orange aluminum, that's how she'd look. Not bad at all. I'm glad they put a different milling pattern. Probably like the looks of these the most for me personally, but I do like how lightweight these PEI scales are. Now all we need is some of that Norplex micarta for this, and we'd be golden. Now, being that absolutely no knife's perfect, what are my nitpicks and complaints? I think it would have been nice if they'd have made this fine cut, jimping right here, and made this just a little bit more sharp. This is good right here. Put it right here as well. This is more of like an aesthetic thing, and gloves, it did help out a little bit. Next would have to be the sharpening choil. Come on, Vosteed, bring that plunge grind all the way back here so you can have all this sharpening life. Because if not, it's going to start to thicken up right there, getting wider and wider, being harder to sharpen if we don't do something about it ourselves. But other than that, they did a fantastic job with the Vombat. I mean, this is just unheard of. This one knife has 3 patents pending. You have your SAS system, which is your swappable adjustable scales. We just looked at that. You have your ball roll bar, basically that little spherical spot on the crossbar for smooth use of the crossbar lock, reducing friction so you don't get any stick, and supposed to prolong the life of the lock as well. And then last, we have the wire clip plate, aluminum plate right here that they got the grooves there, so you can kind of make the knife your own. Super modular. Once again, Vosteed's dropped some heat, and if this blade shape's not your thing, they also offer it in a clip point or Bowie blade. I'm glad they sent me this one. I love that blade shape right here. It's one of my favorites. And yeah, I'm interested to hear y'all thoughts. You got good action. Another thing that I noticed while I was playing with this the other night, and at first I was like, why would you do this? I showed this texture on the bottom right here, and I usually don't like seeing something like that. And when I say it's grippy, it is very grippy. So of course you can use it, you know, in the reverse grip. That's going to offer a ton of traction. But something I noticed, and at first I was kind of worried about it, but a lot of times when you got crossbar locks, if you're like me, I set it like this in my palm to release the lock so it doesn't slide out of my hands. And what that does is it keeps it sturdy. It's not sliding around your hands at all. So genius idea, and I don't mind it. Versatility in that blade. The M390 held up great. It was comfortable. They got nice contouring. The Vombats come in at $139. Do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. M390 steel. The extra stuff you have to make this super easy to make adjustments. You're also paying for the research and development on that. And I don't think that's out of line for this knife. Good performer. Comfortable. I think it's a good looking knife. And it's completely modular. Like I said, hopefully we see some micarta. So there you go. That's going to do it for today's video. Let me know what you think about the new Vosteed Vombat. Do you like all the things that they're trying to have patented, or do you think it's just a bunch of gimmicks? I do like the quick swap scale option, and I do like the fact that I can make a quick adjustment on this. I don't have to take it all down if I don't want to. The whole plate, that I don't really need that, but it's there. I'll be interested to hear y'all thoughts on the Vombat. Did any of y'all pick it up? If so, let me know what you think if you already got it in. If not, I'm sure you'll be getting it in rather soon. If you're interested in picking up one of these, I will have it linked down below in the description. It will be an affiliate link, so if you plan on buying it and you want to help support the channel, I can't thank you enough. That helps me pay for my testing materials. If not, no sweat at all. All right, guys and girls, I hope every one of y'all is having a fantastic day today. And remember, keep these blades sharp, smile more.